Alright guys, Paul back here again for another video. A little bit of an impromptu one. WWE.com, WWE Shop has just tonight released a brand new replica, and it is a very, very anticipated one. It is finally the remake, well, of both of these, more so this one. It's the remake of the WWE Winged Eagle replica belt. So there's a lot of things that have been wrong with these replicas. I should mention this is a 2003 WWF logoed Figures Inc. belt. And that one there is a 2014 WWE Shop remake of this belt with the WWE logo. And now in 2021 we've got, what are they calling it there? They're calling it the dual plated Winged Eagle. So obviously that refers to the colouring of the gold and the silver, the gold and the nickel on the belt itself. That's the original colour scheme for the Winged Eagle. So for those that don't know, when the belt first debuted, it had the gold and the silver. There were so many iterations of the Winged Eagle. Some were then done later on in gold. By the time it was retired, it was a full gold belt. But no, the new replica is based off of the original version, the dual plated version. So we're just going to go through it and I'm going to give you my thoughts. If you've been watching my videos over the past few months, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of a lot of the newer belts, the newer replica belts that WWE.com has been releasing, like the Undisputed V2, the 2020 US replica. If you've seen my top 5 replica belt video, you'll know how impressed I am with all these new replica belts, and especially when compared to the older style ones. And what most of you will know is the Winged Eagle is probably the most popular WWE belt design. I know obviously the big gold, the WCW version is probably, those two are probably the top 2 most popular belts of all time, I would say. In my opinion, I think that probably is a broad generalization, probably is true. So the Winged Eagle has often been probably the most criticised replica belt WWE had at the time, because I'm not going to lie, this is a 2003 this was fine. It has the 2mm plates, but the bars aren't attached. It wasn't all that great. It was, the simulated leather was obviously terrible, still is. And the plate detail wasn't all that great, but for 2002 it wasn't all that bad. And then 2014 they released this, the updated version. So pretty much the same design, similar artwork, just thicker plates, and the bars still being detached from the center plate and attached to the strap. The detail itself, when compared to the other casted replicas kind of made at a similar time to this, even like the classic IC, the Winged Eagle was always a little bit worse. It was never the best replica. It's always, center plate was always really flat as well on these ones. I should mention this one's on real leather, which is why it's more flexible than a simulated leather strap. But yeah, I was never a huge fan of these ones, and one of my biggest complaints, which unfortunately does continue on the 2021 version, is the WWE logo, the WW logo. People, before you think it is what I'm talking about, no, it's not the fact that it's not the WWF logo. It's the annoying fact that they never updated the art file for this belt when they switched it from the WWF to the WWE logo. Because if you look at the side plates, it's most obvious on the side plates. I think it's the same on the center logo, but it's most obvious on the side plates. The logo itself, the WW logo, is symmetrical. It should sit directly in the middle of the plate. Unfortunately, on all the plates, including the center plate, it sits slightly to the left, because that's the positioning it was in when the F parts of the logo were still on the right hand side, so it was obviously a little bit off center. Unfortunately, they never fixed that when making this replica belt with the WW logos, and it's exactly the same on this 2021 version. Annoyingly, when there was rumours of the Winged Eagle being remade, I was so hopeful, because I'll be honest, I've never been a big fan of this version. But really all they've done is taken this belt, attached the bars, made it gold and nickel, and really that's about it. I should say they have raised the world banner a little bit, and I think the wings on the eagle are slightly longer on this new one. But before I start I'm already a fair bit into this video, but I'm just going to read the description of this belt so we kind of have an understanding of it. So this is off of WWEshop.com. So it's introducing the brand new dual plated Winged Eagle Championship replica. It was the championship title that defined the majority of the 1990s and has remained a fan favourite ever since. This updated replica version was held by legends such as Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage during the late 80s and early 90s, and features dual plating and a curved center plate. We also made some of the adjustments to make this the closest replica to the original we've ever produced. That's a lie. And then after that we've got the plate details. So zinc alloy, strap is polyurethane, then it's got the dimensions. It says the plates are 6 and 6.5 mil thick. Yeah, that's the same as this one, give or take. So as far as the plates go, I'm going to be honest, I'm not impressed with it. I mentioned there that the claim is this is the closest replica to the original they've ever produced. That's just not true. The Master Series replica, produced around 2011, 2012, was one of the best replicas ever made. Not only just because it had the WWF logo, but the bars were attached, and the bars were attached so they could stick out from the strap. Annoyingly, while it doesn't look like the bars themselves on this new one have posts, the bolts on the belt still do extend to the edge of the center plate. The Winged Eagle, the real one, for those that don't know, made by Reggie Parks, the bolts pretty much were just in the middle of the belt. So, for example, Bret Hart, when he held the belt, if he was holding the belt like that to hand it to the referee before a match, you would always see the bars and half of, well, a lot of the side of the center plate you would see hanging off of the leather kind of. Whereas on these replicas, that's not really something they've ever managed to replicate. And I know it sounds like a really minor thing, but you'd be surprised by the amount of comments that people want. They want the Bret Hart style belt where you see the kind of leather folding off of the center plate, and it's little things like that. It does kind of annoy me where they make the claim that this is the most accurate version they've ever produced, because it's not. They made a better version 10 years ago, and it's just a shame that this updated 2021 version, the side plates are all identical to this one other than the colouring. The center plate is identical other than the colouring, and they've simply just welded the sidebars onto the center plate. So I'll be honest, until I've seen it in person, obviously I can't give a full detailed opinion, and I will get one of these at some point. But right off the bat, my initial thoughts just by looking at the photos is it's not a great replica. It's a lazy update to this belt, really. The strap is something as well they've upgraded as well. So they've gotten rid of the stitching around the borders, which most of the replicas over the past year and a half have kind of been getting rid of as well. And in addition to that, they've added all the kind of imitation tooling around the snap boxes and around the borders. So that does look really good. I'm a little bit disappointed they've covered all the bolts on the back of the belt. Obviously, it does look more like the belt on TV. Just makes it a bit more of a pain in the arse to re-leather, but it is what it is. But the annoying thing is with their simulated straps, the straps do end up bubbling up after a while, so wherever the bolts are, it starts to separate from the bulk of the strap. The backing starts to separate. So that's just a point. It's not a big deal in the slightest, though, to be honest. Other than that, the belt, it's pretty standard, to be honest. It says it has a larger curve. I mean, that has pretty much a non-existent curve, so you would hope so. But yeah, the points that the raised letters is something they're highlighting on the world banner, which is slightly different to this version, and the longer wings on the eagles, it looks alright. The eagle wings hang over the edge of the strap a little bit more than that one did as standard, so it's certainly an improvement. It also doesn't have the black epoxy paint around the heavyweight banner, just like the original version of this belt did. But I'll be honest, given the quality of the recent replicas like the 2020 US and the Undisputed V2 and the Oval IC, I was so hopeful that the Winged Eagle re-release would be so much closer to the Master Series replica than this one. Unfortunately, it is just this replica recolored with the bars attached. There's very little, and the world banner sticks out a little bit more, I suppose. But comparing it to this, there's very little difference, annoyingly, and yeah, I'll wait to give my full opinion, like I mentioned, when I see it in person for the first time. But just initial thoughts, looking at photos of it, it's nowhere near as good as it could be, and we know it could be a lot better because a decade ago they made a better version of this belt. So disappointing, but it's better than that, and they finally got the bars attached for the standard replica, so that must be considered a win, if nothing else. So that's something. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I had to say about this belt. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. definitely, don't get me wrong, it's better than this version. It's better than this version, although this has the WWF logo. So for accuracy's sake, that's the 2003 belts. The 2mm belts, they have their own kind of charm, to be honest. So I like that belt. I certainly like that old one better than the 2014 version. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. I'm excited for more belts to be remade. Obviously, they've remade the Undisputed, they remade the Oval IC, the European, the Attitude Women's. So it's only a matter of time. Telling you, it's only a matter of time. The 3D Big Gold, it's rumored to be coming later this year. Let's hope so. I'm so, like, this one makes me nervous, this Winged Eagle, because I've been hoping for a really good remake of the 3D Big Gold for, well, since about 2003 when that one came out. And yeah, hopefully they put more effort into that than they have the Winged Eagle, because the Winged Eagle, I'm completely in the middle about it. It's meh. It's an okay, it's an upgraded version of this, and it's still nowhere near as good as what WWE Shop has been doing recently. So we'll see. Let me know what you think of it, though, in the comment section below. I'm curious to hear what everyone else's thoughts. I think most people have been fairly positive about it, and I am fairly positive. I just wish it was as good as it could be, because WWE Shop, they're so lazy with some of the stuff they put out. I mean, some of the Signature Series belts, that's just to get rid of the old stock of plates, so they'll put a stupid strap on something. But aye, let me know. We'll see. We'll see how this looks in a few weeks' time. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP. And if you want to get one of the greatest belts made for you, go to Paulmartinbelts. That's right, sucker.